Here, have a word.
Visual.
Here, have another word.
Media.
And combined, that's visual medium. And what's a visual medium? Manga and anime. Exactly. Good job, have a banana. So what? Well, because they are visual mediums, they face challenges unique to that medium. In written fiction, for example, you can just describe a character, what they look like, what they wear, as well as their personality, their goals, and their themes in words and pages. But in visual media, you usually don't have access to the descriptive freedom of words and sentences, as narration and monologues can only do so much. Moreover, because writing and visuals share a space in these type of mediums, as opposed to books, both of them need to be as efficient as possible, so that they can both shine without one overpowering the other. This means that you, as a mangaka, often simply don't have the time to spend chapters upon chapters describing characters, meaning that you need a fast and effective way of communicating as much of a certain character as possible in a little time as possible. This is where character design comes in. Character design can be defined as the visual construction of a character through which they are defined, characterized, and contextualized, and it is an incredibly useful and basically necessary tool when working in any visual medium. If you are an anime/manga fan such as myself, then you have likely come across some incredibly strong character designs. Well, today, I'd like to quickly break down an approach to the character designs of a show I've recently taken a liking to. Demon Slayer, or Kimetsu no Yaiba. Before we talk about flamboyant exorcists, however, I think we should have some common ground on what good character design actually is. There are entire videos and channels dedicated to this subject, so there is no way I could cover all of this here. I'm a busy man, I have shopping carts to set on fire. But if we want to keep it simple, I think we can narrow it down to the most important ingredients. Most importantly, intent. A character design has to be constructed deliberately, with a certain idea in mind. This is the way an author communicates their characters to their audience, so the design has to be constructed with care and with a specific purpose, a specific set of qualities and implications that it highlights and shows. Likewise, if an aspect of design doesn't contribute to this intent, it should not exist and be taken out, as it might muddle the message of the design. Additionally, the design needs a certain level of cohesion. Oftentimes, an author will want to communicate multiple different ideas with a design, so it's crucial that they find a way to bring those ideas together in a way that doesn't make the design cluttered, unfocused, or muddled. In short, a design has to have the intention to communicate ideas, tie those ideas together cohesively, and shave off any unnecessary parts in order to be as efficient as possible. Koyoharu Gotoge understands that very well, as they have filled their manga, Demon Slayer, with a multitude of incredibly strong designs. Just look at how popular characters like Inosuke have gotten. While this is obviously also tied to, well, the characters themselves, strong designs like the unique and instantly recognizable Pig Baby undeniably help in that. And while there are many designs we could delve into, I want to keep it breezy and focus specifically on one group of designs. The Hashira, also known as the Pillars. For a bit of context for the uninitiated, in the world of Demon Slayer, there is an organization called the Demon Slayer Corps. Who the thunk, am I right? This unofficial group is comprised of a legion of swordsmen and women who have vowed to destroy the demons that plague this world. Among them, there is an elite group, the Hashira. These are the highest ranked demon slayers in the Corps, swordsmasters of unfathomable and unparalleled skill. A group as important as this would of course need good character designs, and Gotoge definitely did not disappoint. Before we hone in on any one character, let's first look at them as a group. Important to notice here is that they are a collective of individuals. Now, everyone can invent terms, so what does that mean? When you first glance at the Hashira, you can immediately discern one thing. They are a unit, part of a group that belongs together. This is signaled by both the various swords they all carry, as well as various versions of the standard issue Demon Slayer uniform they all wear. However, their designs are anything but uniform. Not only are the uniforms slightly different, they all vary wildly in size, accessories, and silhouette. Sanemi and Himejima look nothing alike, yet we can still easily tell that they are part of a group. In essence, they are shown to clearly be a collective, yet they all retain their own individual sense of identity and personality on a design level alone. This is actually very similar to the design philosophy of another popular manga series, namely Naruto Part 1. Here, author Masashi Kishimoto had a basic template on how to design characters, namely that they all have to wear ninja headbands. But by not only varying the designs of the headbands and their way of wearing, but also the general silhouettes and visual personalities of the wearers, he created a cast that is both unique looking yet easily recognizable as groups and collectives. Kishimoto would later also give us a great example of how this can go wrong, namely when he redesigned most of the cast for the Ninja War arc. Now, the designs were all based on the Jonin vest uniforms, which are way more overpowering and suffocate most of the visual personalities in a bland, uniform monotony. And as a result, these designs are looked at with less fondness than the original ones. At least that's what I found when I quickly collected data in my viewership. But enough of the group schmoop, let's get specific. We don't have time to look at every single design, so let's pick Rengoku. Once we look past the Demon Slayer uniform, you can immediately see that the core design feature is fire. Be it his cape, his shoes, or even his hair, they all sport easy to recognize flame symbols. Based on this initial assessment alone, we immediately gain a few associations. Beside the obvious nod to Rengoku's flame-based abilities, the imagery of fire carries connotations of passion, intensity, and desire, but also those of chaos, destruction, and malevolence. So now it's the design's job to communicate which associations are relevant to this character and focus our attention on them. And Gotoge does this through a couple of visual cues. First, his cape. Hokage similarities aside, the major color being white immediately leans the associations into a positive direction, as lighter colors are often seen as symbolic of purity, kindness, and the good in the world. Think yin and yang, light and dark. This white also covers a majority of his body, making that positive leaning quite strong. Then we can move upwards towards his face. Rengoku's eyes are quite special as they are wide open, his irises being almost completely surrounded by the sclera, the white main body of the eye. This is often used to give characters a focused but also crazy, maniacal look, which would go back into a more negative side. However, this is counteracted by his eyes literally being made out of gold with a burning center, as well as the wide, friendly smile. So overall, the face gives off a focused, intense vibe that is nonetheless friendly, which combine to summon up the attribute of excitement and enthusiasm. Lastly, if we move up once more, we reach his hair. This by now infamous hairstyle is obviously meant to represent flames, but we can do better than that. First of all, while it does definitely evoke the fire aesthetic, his hair is much less spiky than many of the styles of other fire users. Spikes are, in visual design at least, often a symbol for aggression and boldness, and quite often symbolize the sort of personality the usual fire user will have. But Rengoku's hair, while still somewhat spiky, is also quite wavy, which is a very soft shape and contrasts the spikes to create not the impression of aggression, but rather of enthusiastic assertiveness, as well as a certain air of eccentricity. The last thing to note is that the hairstyle is symmetrical. That might seem like nothing at first, but remember that one big association of fire is chaos, which also implies asymmetry. And indeed, other fire users' designs, and especially hair designs, often end up being asymmetrical and messy. Rengoku's hair being symmetrical subverts that association and instead creates an impression of discipline and order. So, by just looking at his design, completely devoid of any context within the story, we have gathered that Kyojuro Rengoku is kind, friendly, disciplined, focused, passionate, assertive, eccentric, enthusiastic, and excited. And would you look at that? These are basically all of the core points that his personality is defined in the writing around him in the series. So, just by taking our time with what we're seeing, we are able to correctly assess the general vibe and even some specifics about the character. And the truly magical thing is that even without having to go in depth like we did now, the broad strokes of this will immediately be apparent to anyone who looks at this dude. That's what we can call good character design. You don't need to really read the series to understand what this character is fundamentally about. There are plenty of more great designs like this in Demon Slayer alone, and we could do this for basically every Hashira for the entire day, but as I said, I need to set things on fire and go, so I'd encourage you to do so on your own time. For now, thanks for watching and take care, see you all next time.